The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome once again to the Star Sport Podcast. The Star Sport Podcast is brought to you in association with our friends at Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, where your bank really does matter. Choose Credit Union, choose local, choose community. So welcome to the podcast again this week. We have a very special guest for you. Quite recently, Adam Smith, who's the former head of boxing at Sky Sports, popped into our office for a catch-up. Adam is a friend of the show. We might have obviously caught him on the podcast over the last couple of years. Adam and his family, they come to West Cork as often as they can. They stay in a cottage there on Corlicky Lake in Drina, and Adam's going to talk about that quite soon. So couldn't pass up the chance to catch up with Adam, who's... like I said, he's one of the finest boxing commentators there is, and he talks to us about Katie Taylor, his relationship with Katie Taylor, his friendship, and how he really wants a homecoming for one of Ireland's greatest ever athletes. But Adam also opens up about his own health struggles in the last couple of years. He was diagnosed with bladder cancer a few years ago, and it was a really tough and challenging time for him. But thankfully, he has come through it, and he's come out the right side, and he's going strong. So lovely to catch up with him. And here now is my recent chat with Adam Smith. Delighted now to have Adam Smith back in the Southern Star building. Adam, welcome back to Skibbereen and the Star.
Thank you. I love it here. You know that I do. It's great to see you again. It's been a while, but we've been constantly coming back to Drina every summer with the family. We've got relatives everywhere. We love the fun, the crack, the place, the serenity. It's our home, and I think the relatives and the friends say, you know, when are you home? When are you coming home? And it feels like that. We're maybe no longer blow-ins. We're actually, we feel part of it. And I think this year particularly, we spent a lot of time in Drina and around and got to know even more locals and even more sort of distant family members. And it's a very, very special place in my heart and in my whole family's.
And why do you feel that connection to Drina and West Cork is so strong?
It's a good question. I think that I've always loved Ireland. I didn't come when I was a kid, even though my nana's family were from around Dublin, and they were then in Leeds, and then my dad came to London, and I guess there was no real need to go to Ireland when I was young. But when I started at Sky, I had Steve Collins was a big fighter at the time. I was here, as you know, for Mill Street for the Eubank fight, which was extraordinary. Noel C. Duggan leading the charge in Mill Street. It was fantastic, and then the rematch, and then it went on from there. We went all around Ireland, many nights in Belfast, many nights in Dublin. I've been to Galway, all over the Emerald Isle. I love it. I love the people. I love the fighters that come from it, and obviously my wife's family have got huge connections here. So when we got married, it was an opportunity for me to get to know Ireland really well. So I feel like I know a great part of it, but I'm really, really fond of the West Cork area, and I think that not many people know. Well, maybe some do, but maybe a few more than when we last spoke. But it's really almost like a secret place. It's a mystical place, West Cork, and I just love it. I love going to Union Hall and Glandall. That's where I wrote my book. I love Clon, I love Skib, I love everywhere, Castle Townsend or going up to Dunmanway, just over the fields, and even if it's just a walk down to Currilicky Lake and seeing the cows and picking the blackberries, it's just it's a place that I feel very comfortable. I'm getting quite emotional, very comfortable with, and I absolutely love it. And I love the fact my kids come year in, year out, and they've sort of grown up here as well. So we're not here year round, but we have a special time when we are here, and I think it's because of the the people and the land. I think the Irish are different. The Irish are soft and strong and storytellers, and I like being around them, and they draw me back in every time.
Talk to you about a cottage in Curlicky Lake. No Wi-Fi, no TV. How do you keep yourself entertained when you're back here at home in West Cork?
Tough for the teenagers. Now the three of them. Jessamy's 19, Oscar's nearly 18, and Tilly's 14. And of course, the mobile phone, social media world, it's hard. But for us, for Joe and I, and for everybody that's around, the cottage is a bit like a haven. I mean, it's no power showers. We're not having. There's no luxurious beds. I mean, it's a step up from camping, but not much. It's not really used. It's used maybe in the Easter and a little bit in the summer by us, and also by another wing of the family. And it's just a place which has got a huge amount of history and memories. And I think that the fires and the acre of land and the fact that it's got no TV, no Wi-Fi, a little radio, no real push to the world that I'm normally in. I think it's really peaceful, and I think that it's a chance for us all to get some R&R, and it's also a great base where it is. It's right opposite the Ellis Farm, who are lovely, and it's by the Curlicky Lake, and we're not far from Drina, and it's a great sort of hub to go from the cottage, which is called the Morning Sun, and gets it. And it's been beautiful weather this year, and it's great that everything's 20 minutes, half an hour away, whether you're going to Inchydoney or you're going to Roscarbery or you're going to Clon or Skib or wherever you go. Everything's within shooting distance, and that's it. So yeah, it's not a great sleeping arrangements. But it's got something, again, maybe magical, maybe mystical about it, and yeah, it's an old place.
Since we had you last in the building here, Adam, you've had your health challenges, and I have to say you're looking great and you've come through the other side. Can you talk to us about what the last couple of years have been, because they've been pretty tough, haven't they?
Very, very tough. It's basically helped me grow up again, really, I think, in many ways. I feel a lot calmer now. I feel like that hope for serenity, which I maybe get in Ireland, and find it harder in the 24/7 world of boxing that I've been in for 35 years. I think that altogether I feel that I've changed. I've got a different perspective on life. I was healthy. I had 35, 40 years, I don't know how long, of not having a sick day. Never had a sick day at school that I remember, maybe half a day off at Sky, but in a long time I was never seriously ill and didn't really go to doctors. And then I found blood in my urine, and it was very, very scary. I had a nephrostomy, so my kidney had failed, and they said that I only had a few days. I was very lucky. I went in just in the nick of time. I had a huge tumour on my bladder, which was a 3.2 tumour, so I was very lucky it hadn't got through the bladder wall and spread. That was the first thing, and then they had to get rid of the tumour, the bladder, the prostate. 19 lymph nodes came out, and I was left with a big struggle of recovery, because I have a stoma, so I had to learn how to adapt to that. And also I had an ileus straight away, which means my whole body was blocked up, and I got a twisted bowel. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. I then had to have chemo within 12 weeks, which was hard because I was fighting other stuff. So I lost 4 stone in weight. There was one time I went to the mirror I was in 4 hospitals over 3.5 months, and one time I stared into the mirror and I thought, I just looked like a skeleton. I thought, I'm not going to make this. I don't know what got me through. Maybe it's the kids, maybe it's the family, maybe it's the support I had. I had great support from everybody, and fighters, many of them messaging me late into the night. AJ, I remember, was training in America at the time, and he was messaging me late in the night. They all were brilliant. Katie Taylor, as I'm sure we'll talk about, was fantastic, and so many others as well. So I got through it, through my family, my friends, and I guess it was really hard. I was in pain for a long time. I then had to learn to walk again. I was sat down in the shower for 2 months. It was awful. I learned to walk again, got back on my feet. Katie's was the first fight I went back to, the Chantal Cameron second fight. I'd missed the first one because I was in hospital, so I made it to the second one. I was not well. I was probably 60% maybe. I went with my wife for a weekend in Dublin, And yeah, and then slowly but surely, I guess it probably took a year to really recover. I have scans, I have fantastic doctors, I have meds. Life's different. I'll never be 100% again, but I'm just really, really grateful for all the help I've had, and I'm grateful to be alive, and it's given me a different perspective on life. It's made me want to come here more, it's made me want to be around my kids more. And also, when I pick up a mic again around the boxing world, or I write a piece, I feel very honoured. And I think maybe before I took a little bit for granted. I was running around as head of Sky Boxing and doing what I wanted and commentating on all the big fights and working hard, but maybe not working in the way I should have worked. And not that I regret anything. I love my time at Sky. You know, cut me open and I bleed Sky. But I'm glad to have moved on and become a freelancer. And I'm doing lots of different projects, helping young fighters. I'm working a little bit with the Ring magazine, doing some writing. I'm working on Talk Sport Radio. And then DAZN have given me a really lovely job as their lead commentator. And I'm loving that with Barry Jones and Darren Barker. We've got this new team and it's really fun. And I can't believe it. I came out of hospital and Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn were chatting away as old friends when they were sworn enemies before. So Turki Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, has completely changed the landscape of boxing. The best are fighting the best, and we're loving it. And I've launched a channel called The Voice of Boxing, YouTube channel. So look up that, Kieran. It's a lot of fun. I work with a guy called Andy Levada, who's a brilliant producer, film editor, creator, cameraman, jack of everything, and brilliant at it all. So I'm very lucky to have someone as passionate as me about the sport and about life. And the two of us are sort of rolling around the UK and trying to go a bit global and enjoying ourselves. And I think that's what it's all about. And I guess, yeah, it's that privilege I feel now of picking up the mic for Eubank Ben One or for Usyk Dubois and really taking it in, as opposed to maybe it just being a role before. It's actually just a privilege and a pleasure now to commentate on the fighters I love.
You mentioned Katie Taylor, and Adam. You have unique insight into her in terms of Katie, the boxer and the person. Can you expand on that a small bit more? Yeah,
Katie and I are very close, and we've been very close for a long, long time. I got to know her many, many years ago. I mean, she started boxing 10 or 11 with her dad, and I got to know a little bit in the amateurs. Obviously, she won, 6 Europeans, 5 Worlds, the Olympic gold, carrying the flag in 2012. And I guess that was the fight, maybe the Tasha Jonas-Katie Taylor fight in London, which Johnny Nelson and I went to, and the atmosphere there was, I think, one of my top 5s probably of all time. It was an unbelievable day that when Katie and Tasha met, and I think from then I got hooked on Katie Taylor more than ever. So yeah, I watched her obviously go to Rio and then turn professional with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, and Eddie and I were very close, and we had a big deal with Sky and Matchroom, and Eddie Hearn said to Barney Francis, the head of Sky Sports, and said to me that let's go with Katie and let's use this as a chance to get into women's boxing. And that became a real passion of mine at Sky, and it still is. I got to mentor Savannah Marshall for many years. Savannah, who didn't get gold at London 2012, she froze. She was hot favourite. She'd won the World Championship. She'd beaten Clarissa Shields, and she fell apart. So that was really interesting, sort of trying to help her get her confidence back, and seeing her eventually become a two-weight champion and a massive success has been brilliant. And Tasha Jonas and Terry Harper and Chantel Cameron and all the new generation like Lauren Price and Caroline Dubois, and there's just so many. Tia May Ayton has just turned professional. She's a fantastic fighter. So there's just a wave of brilliant women coming through, and I got brilliant women on my team at Sky as well. So it was really important for me to see that, and it's fantastic that they're getting their acclaim. That Jake Paul and MVP have invested heavily into female boxing and just had the huge event at Madison Square Garden. But as far as Katie is concerned, yeah, we've always been close. I think I've always loved her humility and her kindness, and the fact she goes into the ring and she fights not only for herself but for her nation. And I think that she is the jewel of Ireland. I think she is the greatest sportswoman, sports person ever to come out of Ireland. I think she's one of the greatest fighters that's ever lived, male or female, in any era. And that's not from any bias of knowing her well. That's from taking a helicopter view and an objective view of what she's done. The amateur success, pretty unparalleled. The professional success, being an undisputed lightweight and super lightweight champion for so long, and only having that defeat to Chantel. And yes, I know there was some controversy around the Serrano fights and maybe Delphine Persoon back in the garden, but every time Katie gives us her all, and when she's not in a firefest, her boxing skills, as we saw in the third fight with Amanda Serrano, are just beautiful. And I thought she rolled back the years at 39. I had a good chat with her a few months ago, and she said the best is yet to come. And I think we saw some of the best in the garden the other week. But yeah, she's been amazing to me. She's been a real support. We both have to each other. And of course, when I pick up the mic, it's all neutral. But as a friend, Katie's been fantastic. She kept in touch with me a lot during my cancer treatment. But even before that, we've been on a holiday together. She's come on a Smith family holiday. We have a place in Cape Cod in the States, and she lives not too far in Connecticut, and she's been up there and she's tried her luck at water skiing, not very successfully, although that really pissed her off because she's a real competitor. She's pretty good at table tennis, and she was great around the Smith family table for dinner. The kids absolutely loved her. She's just a gentle, sweet, wonderful young woman. And my dad could not believe that she was a fighter, not even, let alone a multi-title champion winner, one of the greats of our time. He just he couldn't work out how she could get in a ring with the sort of rapport that we had sort of on that holiday. And yeah, it's great. And so we're off to Cape Cod in a week or two, and I'll be looking her up and seeing if we can get to see her again. But yeah, I think Katie could walk away right now. I don't think she wants to. And I think that the one thing that remains, I think we had this conversation in this office a few years ago, is that she should have a homecoming. And I know that she's fought in Dublin finally, but I think she needs to have that huge event, whether it's at Croke Park, whether it's in Cork, whether it's in the countryside, wherever. I think we need that. I think she needs, rather like Alexander Usyk, they're very fond of each other, the two of them. They're very similar. They're both so professional, consummate professionals. They're both great people, and they've both just been unbelievable amateurs and professionals. And I think what remains for both of them is a homecoming. And Alexander, obviously, with the situation in the Ukraine, is really hard at the moment, but maybe that will ease. And I think for Katie, I keep saying to Eddie, I keep saying to Brian, and anyone that will listen, please, let's get her that fight, let's get her that night, that day, whatever, a festival, however we do it, whether it's in Cork, in Dublin, in the country, it doesn't matter really. It's just getting 50, 60, 70, 80, who knows, 100,000 people out to celebrate Katie Taylor before she hangs the gloves up. And I've had a good chat with her about what she wants to do beyond, because she's so obsessed with boxing and training that I do worry about that transition. But I think she'll help youngsters. I think she'll obviously never have to work again. She's made incredible money, but it's not about that. And she's very close to her family. And I'd love to see her become not just an inspiration to young fighters, but just help guide them and give all the wisdom that she's learned back. But I think there's a homecoming first, and I'd really like that to happen.
There's no doubt that the Irish would support that in their thousands and thousands. Only a couple of weeks ago, the Cork GA CEO, Kevin O'Donovan, admitted that Páirc Uí Chaoimh, the Cork GA's GA grounds, they tried to get a Katie Taylor fight there, but it didn't work out. We've heard of Croke Park before. What do you think of the stumbling blocks here, and how close are we to having that homecoming, that celebration of Katie Taylor that she really does deserve? I'm
really surprised. I don't quite know, and I'm not privy to the details and the finances, and maybe that is what it goes down to. I mean, it is a business, obviously, and maybe it needs a Chantel Cameron third fight or another major one for it to be a commercial success. But I can't understand how it can't not be, in a way, because Katie will draw so many people just for being Katie Taylor. I mean, she could almost be in a stadium and not do anything, and people would come and be around her. But I think she just has to have that fight, and she'll want it to be a tough, hard fight. That's what Katie's about. But win or lose, she needs that homecoming. It doesn't need to be a softish opponent. It could be someone very dangerous, but I think that it has to happen. I think there's a huge amount of fighters that still want to fight her. And maybe it is a passing of the torch, a changing of the guards somewhat. You see Turki Al-Sheikh wanting Alexander Usyk and Moses Atama to fight. I don't think that time is right yet. I think we need to wait on that. But at some point, Usyk will move on. At some point, Katie will move on, and there'll be others. And there'll be others waiting now, and they're pretty much ready. But Katie is unique. Katie is a gem, a jewel, somebody that I have been so privileged to work alongside and watch her achieve her dream. My 3 children should be able to have their dreams and do what they want in life, and whether they're male, female, whatever, it doesn't matter. Nothing should stop anyone achieving or trying to achieve what they want. She's been so dedicated since she was 10 years old, dressing up as a boy, calling herself Kay Taylor, and living her absolute dream and keeping that humility, those feet on the ground the whole way through, and just being that absolutely lovely young woman that she is. It's a testament to her and her family, the people around her, her mum Bridget, her dad Pete. I know there's been difficulties, but it's great seeing Pete back working with her, because he's a great trainer and he was incredibly important to her amateur career. And with Ross and with Brian and Thomas and everybody that's around her, and her brothers and sisters. You know, I just think it's a fantastic story. It's a story that obviously has been made into a documentary, could be made into a Hollywood movie. There's all sorts and books and everything else. But I think that just taking her as an athlete, as a sports person that has managed to come out of Ireland, which is the most passionate of places, as I know, but also it's a small island compared to the rest of the world, and she has had a massive impact on the world, on sport. And we should celebrate Katie, because I don't think in our lifetimes we will ever see another.
If we do get that homecoming that Katie deserves, you have to bring her down to Curlicky Cottage, won't you? And show her the kind of wonders of West Cork.
I would love to do that. I really would love to, actually. It would be fantastic to do that, and let's try. I'll get us a Cape Cod hopefully this summer or next summer, and but if she has that celebration wherever it is, and I'm sure it will more likely be in Dublin or Bray or around there, but if we can get it in Cork or in County Cork, she's coming down the cottage, and do you know what? She'll walk in, and there's no airs and graces with Katie. She won't care if it's a nice bed to sleep on or whatever. It doesn't bother her. She'll be happy in the cottage like we are, and she'd walk in and she'd be so interested in the history, and that's the sort of young woman she is, and you guys should be very, very proud of her. She's an absolute legend.
And finally, Ed, you could talk out your time. For you to get that unique insight into Katie, like you said, you've met her over in Cape Cod, like she's been so good to you in your own journey, and vice versa. Like, what's that been like to get to know, kind of in person, one of Ireland's greatest ever sports people, if not the greatest?
It's a pleasure. I have so much respect for fighters, Kieran, in general, whether they are 4-round fighters, whether they're journeymen, whether they are world champions. It doesn't matter to me. Anyone that gets in that ring is braver than I am. I might have come back from cancer, but it's nothing like getting in a ring and putting your life and your career on the line in front of so many people. It's just, I have that absolute glow when I get 6 feet from ringside and I have the pleasure of commentating on the likes of Floyd Mayweather or Joe Calzaghe or Lennox Lewis or Lomachenko or Usyk or these greats. And Katie Taylor, Clarissa Shields would argue, she believes she's the GOAT, and I love Clarissa and I love her story and we're very close. She loves Katie too, but I think what Katie has done as an amateur and as a professional, and the fact that she had to fight the system and she came out of Ireland, I think all of those things just stand her somewhere different. And it's that humility. Clarissa has a different character. You love her, you hate her. Everybody loves Katie Taylor. Everyone loves Katie. They want to be around her. And for me, having that small little part to play, not major, there's many more people who have had much more influence. Her family, her coaches, her team, Eddie, the whole of Matchroom, and Brian and his team. They've all had so much more impact. And of course, I'm a broadcaster, so I have to keep my distance slightly. But it's very hard with Katie. As soon as I saw her in New York after she beat Serrano and put on that masterclass, I saw her, and there's all the other journos there, and they all know that we have a special bond. It's not because I've been ill, it's not that. We've always had it, and there's something that lights both of us up when we see each other. And and I'll always be grateful for Katie Taylor for the help she's given me in my career and my life, and hopefully she's grateful as well for the coverage that we've given and the drive that we've given her both on Sky and through boxing. And I'm glad that she's getting her just desserts financially. She's making a huge amount of money. I think that's brilliant that MVP and Jake Paul have invested so heavily. Brian Peters has done an amazing job with Katie. Eddie Hearn has promoted her from start to finish. It's been a wonderful team, and she's been loyal and she's trusting, and she's just wonderful, Kieran, and I'm very, very proud to call her a friend.
Fantastic. Who knows in the future, Adam, if there's that homecoming and Katie stays in Curly Cottage, you might have Katie in here with yourself and Eddie Hearn in the future. Who knows what the future holds? But
that'd be nice.
That'd be super. That'd be wonderful.
I'm sure she'll come and do it if she could. It's difficult with all the commitments and the people and all that, but I'm sure Katie, if I asked her, Katie would be absolutely honoured to come in here, and she would love to spend a bit of time in West Cork.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time again. Glad to hear you this super time in West Cork.
Thank you.
Safe travel and continue good health.
Thanks, Kieran. Great to see you.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Super. And thanks again, Adam, for popping into us here in the Star Sport HQ in Skibbereen. Really was appreciated. And as usual, if you're further afield or if you can't make it to the shops, you can subscribe to the Southern Star e-paper and get the Southern Star on your laptop, tablet or phone. Just go to www.southernstar.ie/subscribe, enter your details, and you'll get an exact replica of the newspaper for less than €2 per week. And as always, thank you for listening to the Star Sport podcast, and thanks again for our sponsors at Access Credit Union. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. I will be back again in the next show. Until then, take care.